Hey you guys, and welcome to my January 2017 wrap-up video. So this is up earlier than anything from last year, so if that's the benchmark that I'm going to compare putting up wrap-ups this year against, that's the way to go because I can win. But the first book I'm going to talk about to you guys about is something I actually read in 2016 because I totally forgot in that whole swarm of wrap-ups to talk about it, and it is a book I need to talk about and share with everyone. Wow, that was just really aggressive right there. So the book I want to talk to you guys about is The Dispatcher by John Scalzi, and it is read by Zachary Quinto right now. It's an Audible exclusive, so you can only get it on audiobook, but I checked, and yes, there is going to come like a physical copy, so a hardcover copy is coming out May 31st, so I'm definitely going to be getting it then. In this world, 900 out of 99 out of 1,000 people come back to life once if they are killed and someone else has a hand in their death. So like if you die peacefully in your sleep, you're still dying. But basically this changes like the world. So we have this job called the dispatcher, and the dispatcher can say you're having a surgery and the surgery is going really bad. A dispatcher can legally step in and dispatch you, which is what they call it, and you'll probably like come back and then you can do the surgery all over again. Because when you die and you come back, you kind of get like reset like a day before where you were. So that's what happens, and that's kind of this person's job. Of course, there's some shadier aspects that people can use this thing for, and in this we have this dispatcher whose friend goes missing, and there's an investigation that may or may not tie into something bigger and deeper, and it's only like 2 hours and 30 minutes of listening time, so it was really, really fast, and I just absolutely loved it, and I gave it 5 stars, and you guys should definitely get it at Audible because Zachary Quinto was an awesome narrator. Or if you just want to wait for the hardcover, you should definitely go and wait and put that on your wish list. So let me know if you guys read it before or not. Just tell me down below. So on to 2017. The first book that I read was Hounded, and then I read Hex later on that month. I decided this is probably not going to mean anything to most of you guys because usually I do my wrap-ups and I tell you guys an order of everything that I read, so usually I don't put the series together. But this year I'm just like, no, Keisha, just put the series together, that way you can just talk about it all at once and kind of get it over with in a way. So that's what I'm doing. So Hounded and Hex by Kevin Hearn is the first 2 books in the Iron Druid Chronicles, and I have 3 and 4 like read over there, ready to be read. I'm so excited. So this follows Atticus O'Sullivan, who is living in modern day Arizona, and he is a druid, the last of the druids, and he's kind of in hiding because this one god has been after him all these years, like hundreds and hundreds of years, and he finally decided to kind of up his game because he really wants this sword from Atticus. So that's kind of where we meet Atticus at his occult bookshop that he owns, and this cast of characters, and I'm really loving the mythology that's kind of going into this. He's taking like all the mythologies and all the gods and kind of making them alive in here, so that's really interesting. And then we have like one god who's kind of on his side, sort of, maybe, you know how gods, they're fickle, and then we get like his close bunch of friends, like other creatures. So there's some shapeshifters in here and some vampires, and then of course some people who don't know what's going on. But one of his best friends is his dog that he can actually talk to, and it's so sweet. I love that relationship between them. It's just like they're both so snarky, and I love it, and I gave them both 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm looking forward to the third one because apparently we're gonna meet Thor, who everyone thinks is a douchebag. Like everyone who's met him before just thinks, and he has never met him before, so he's like, what am I getting myself into? So of course we have that aspect of him getting over his head because of just events that take place in the first one that he has to kind of confront, I believe, in the later books. So I'm really looking forward to continuing with the series. And then the next books that I read, sorry, I have looking at my computer open, I read Cinderella, or The Little Glass Slipper by Charles Perrault. This is the illustrated edition by Camille Garza-Garcia, and I own the Snow White and I own the Alice in Wonderland editions, and I love them and read them as well. And then I read the complete, I only read the first book Winnie-the-Pooh. And I read these for the hashtag yearthon, so I'll link that down below because I already talked about them, and I'll link the reviews I did for them down below as well. So I basically gave these both 5 out of 5 stars, and I said they were nostalgic goggles on it because I already knew I was going to love it, which is why I picked them up. And for Winnie-the-Pooh, each story has like a lot of stories and like one each book, so I decided that I'm not gonna like quite marathon them like I did before. I think each month I'll start a book and I'll just read like one story like every other day or so. So that's how I'm gonna continue with this book until all 4 books are done. So there we go. And then the next book that I read was A Local Habitation, which is book 2 in the October Day series, and then I read An Artificial Light, which is book 3 in the October Day series. And I actually have book 1, 4, and 5 over there. I haven't read 4 and 5 yet, so I'm really, of course, looking forward to that. I really seem to be in a urban fantasy mood, and I found 2 excellent series, Hounded and this, to go with it. So for those of you who don't know, October Day is this girl, and she is half fae, half human, and 14 years ago something happened and she was like turned into a fish and basically missing from both those worlds for that time, and she comes back and she's trying to assimilate into the world because it takes place like when she goes missing. It's like the 1990s where like they have like big cell phones. So she comes back, technology has changed, things with the people have changed, especially with the human side who don't understand like why she was gone for that long really, although I felt like she had a good excuse but like, so in the first book she gets involved in a fae, she's a private investigator, and she gets involved in a fae case when a friend from Fairy dies, and she's kind of pulled into it. So in these later books we're kind of seeing her get drawn more and more into this world, kind of coming out of her shell, not being so bitter and angry as such as she was in the first book, and kind of making connections with other people again. So that was nice to see, and I'm really looking forward to the 4th book because I believe we're going to learn some more about her background where her parents are concerned, and I'm really looking forward to that. I gave these to 5 stars, and the first one I had given 4 stars, so they're definitely like ramping up and getting better. So there we go. Then the next book that I have to talk to you guys about is A Monster Calls, and this book is a reread, and I actually have an old video review. If you guys want to check that out, I'll link it down below. And I actually listened to this on the audio this time, but I just broke out the book because that way you guys can have something to like stare at while I talk about it. So I'm not going to talk about that much because obviously it follows this boy Connor, and he gets visited by a monster 3 times in order to tell a story because of something that is going on in his life. And I really want to reread this in order to watch the movie, but plus I really love the audiobook and the narration, and I really felt like the first time around reading the physical book was great, but then when I reread it and listened to the audiobook, that was also as awesome. And then maybe next time when I reread it, I'll read and listen to it at the same time so I can look at these wonderful pictures. So I'll link my video review down below. 5 out of 5 stars. Again, love it. And then the next book that I read was on my Kindle. I'll just hold up my Kindle like this. And it was A Promise of Fire by Amanda Bouchant, which I kept meaning to read. And I kind of saw that Chelsea from The Reading Outlaw, whose channel I will link down below, she was going to read it. She started this club on Goodreads, Sexy and 17, where they're going to read romance books each month, and this was one. And I didn't comment yet. I should definitely at least make like a video thing. I feel like I'm the only one who loved it from that group, so definitely want to talk about it. And I also read the sequel, Breath of Fire. It's called The Kingmaker Chronicles. I brought them both from the library, and it follows this girl Kat, and she is hiding from her life in like this traveling circus until somebody finds her and like kind of kidnaps her to kind of do his bidding, because she's a kingmaker, so when she's near people she can tell you if they're lying or not, like basically like a lie detector, and she can feel it in her body, but she doesn't want any part of being like a kingmaker or anything. And then these two kind of get like, she has a really snarky attitude, which I kind of love, but she's also kind of hiding behind that because she heard a prophecy when she was younger, and she's really been just trying to ignore it. And her and this guy are kind of like who kidnapped her, if that's your thing. I wouldn't say it was like one of those like dark kidnappings. It was definitely more on the lighter side. And they both are like kind of feeling each other the whole time, but she's kind of resisting because she's like, dude, you like kidnapped me. He's like, so it's kind of like a lot of back and forth between them. It's kind of cute in some ways. In the second book, I was kind of annoyed with some stuff because I'm like, okay, I thought we handled this in the first book. You need to kind of grow up just a little bit more. But there was like maybe an excuse towards the end. In this one, there's like a lot of magic that goes on for some people. So some people in these three kingdoms that where they are the reigning royalty some have like powers, some people don't, and I thought it was really interesting. There's another god aspect in this concerning where the powers come from and stuff like that. So I gave the first one 5 stars. I loved it. I gave the second one 4 stars. I still loved it, but it kind of went down a little bit for me. So I'm really looking forward to the third, and I believe it's the final book. So I'm looking forward to that. So moving on from that, the next book that I read was Magic Bites by Elena Andrews. Just has been on my wish list for like ever. Like I've always wanted to read something by her, and it was always this one that caught my interest the most. And it follows this mercenary, Kate Daniels, and she lives in this world where in one wave we have the magical wave where everything magic is like ramped up, and then we have the technical wave where like magic is like kind of weak and everything like technology works like electricity and stuff like that. So they go between waves in this world, and of course she's a mercenary and her mentor dies, so then that's where we kind of kick off where she has to investigate his death, and which leads her to like coming out of her shell, so to speak, because usually like she keeps to herself, but now she's having to be involved with like shapeshifters and like other people, and it's just, I loved it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really great start to the series, and I read it originally on the Kindle, but from Overdrive, but my library was like, they had 0 copies, so of course that led to me buying the second book, which is like over there, Magic, I do not have my glasses on, Magic Burns. So then I'll probably end up reading most of the series on Overdrive, but I'll definitely like collect them. They're like really short and sweet, so I'm really looking forward to getting to the second book, and this is my another urban fantasy series. So after that, yes, I read more. I read the Royals trilogy by Aaron Watts. So we have Paper Princess, Broken Prince, and Twisted Palace. And yes, I went ahead and just bought the physical copies because I read this one on my Kindle and I loved it, and I needed the second book right away. I will say that I did hold out for like a day or two, and then I bought the physical copies of these, all of them, and then the matchbook price was only 99 cents, so I went ahead and bought the Kindle copies and read them back to back. Oh, it was so amazing. So it follows this girl, Ellie Harper, and her mother has died, but she hasn't really told anybody, and she really wants to just stay in school and just graduate and get a job and all this stuff. But then this guy comes and he claims he's her guardian, and he's a friend of her dad who she never met, and he moves her into his place with his sons who don't like her. And of course there's just one that stands out, Reed, and they kind of have like all have a antagonistic relationship with each other. So it's really interesting watching her be pulled into this family who they're kind of like have their own problems and secrets because of what happened between their dad and their mom, who is no longer alive. And then we have the school aspects because they're super royally rich, and then we get kind of like almost like a gossipy girl vibe in that corner, I guess, if you want to compare it to something. But it's definitely like very soap opera-y when you're getting to like, especially by the third book, you're just like, what the heck? I gave the first 2 books 5 stars, and I gave the last one 4 stars, only because I felt like there was definitely some things missing by the time we got to the third book, because I was like, that storyline, like, I have questions and you need to answer them. Until that point, it was just like a fluffy, like, weird relationship things going on, drama every second, but they actually needed to like solidify something. There is going to be a 4th book following the brother Easton, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's definitely like a really fun, easy to get through series. I feel like you'll either love them or you'll hate them, or they might be too much for you. Soap opera territory, so yes, love. And then the next book that I read, and the last book that I read, is Glazov. I'm not even gonna pretend that I pronounced that right. This is the first book in the Boy and Bravitov series, and I actually did a review on this, so I'll link that down below with all the other reviews. And in this one, follows a guy who's the head of the Russian mob of this Bravitov cell, but basically the Russian mob, and he basically blackmails this woman into like getting with him and marrying him, and basically that is the storyline. That is basically they have a really like a love-hate relationship, more on her side for him. Like, she likes him, but she's like, I do not want to get involved with this guy, and he kind of gives her no choice. So if you're not into that, you're probably not going to give her that. But basically that's just like the whole story. You're just like watching them come together as a couple. So I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and there's a review, and I read more in the series, so you guys can definitely look forward to that next month. So that was a lot of books. Hopefully I did a good enough job explaining and talking to you guys about. I had a really great reading month. I loved basically everything that I read that month. This month, not so much. So you guys let me know how you guys did in January. If you guys have read any of these books that I mentioned, or if you guys plan to read any of these books that I mentioned. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.